Welcome to the April wrap-up. Wrap-ups are really weird for me. I keep experimenting with what I want to do. Last month I filmed my reaction to each book right after I finished it and then compiled those all into the wrap-up. This month we're just doing them all in a one shot. I think the correct thing is somewhere in the middle because some of these books, wow, I don't remember reading, which then sort of affects my rating of them. Like I don't trust what I originally thought, which is very strange. I have the stack here of physical books that I read. It is admittedly tiny, but my goal for April was to read some of my physical books. I definitely did that, so we're gonna go through these first in no particular order because it's just that kind of day. The first one I have is The Project by Courtney Summers. I have a whole spoiler-filled review of this, but this was really good. I definitely don't think it'll be for everybody, and I do think it had some technical issues with sort of plot lines getting dropped, and the relationship between the sisters I think could have been more fleshed out, but I think this really impacted me really well. I tabbed a whole bunch of stuff in it. This is about a sister who joins a cult and another sister who's trying to investigate the cult, and I found it really well done in the cult aspect, in convincing you why this could happen to you. Of course, no cult book truly does that because you never think it's going to happen to you, but you know these things do happen. And I think Courtney Summers did a really good job at that. I do think this suffered from being YA. I definitely think it should have been aged up, but this was still a 5-star read for me. And I talk in that review about how I know that I love this book because I can still feel good about my 5-star while talking about all of the problems with it. So definitely not going to be something for everyone, but something basically written for me. Next we have The Passengers by John Marrs. I also have a video for this. This is John Marrs' follow-up to the one. I think that's true. I don't think he wrote anything in between. And I really liked this. It's about self-driving cars and complex morality questions. And the characters in this are all really good. And I think the commentary is really good. Where it really falls apart is in the last third or so. The ending is just garbage. It's truly unforgivable how bad it is and how unnecessary it is. It felt like an 80-page epilogue where you could have wrapped it up in one chapter. But that being said, I do still highly recommend this one. I'm giving it 4 stars, but my feelings are more positive than just straight 4 stars. Unless we talk about the ending. But let's just not talk about it. 4 stars. Great time. Next up, we have Starsight by Brandon Sanderson, the sequel to Skyward. This is the reason I didn't read more physical books. This book really kicked my butt. It's 460 pages-ish, but it reads a lot longer. This definitely feels like a filler book. And it takes a very different course from the first book in a way that I did like, but it also felt really disconnected from the first book, which was really unfortunate. I think the pacing was off, where we wouldn't spend enough time with the things I cared about, but then spend way too much time on things that didn't really matter. And it both wraps up really quickly, but also leaves a lot to explore in the next book. It feels kind of like half a book. So I did really like it, but it took me a long time to get through, and I think it's only in retrospect that I really do enjoy it. I also counted the number of times that they say scud in this. Scud is their like generic swear for everything, and it was over 80 times. So that's once every 5 pages. And it was awful. I hate the word scud. I don't know why that bothers me so much, but if it's something that bothers you, 80 times. Get ready. And the final book we have in this stack is the first book that I read this month, With Malice by Eileen Cook. This book is so hard to talk about talk about my feelings about it. I can talk about what it's about. It's about a girl who goes on a trip to Italy, and I'm just checking to see what it says. Okay, so she goes to Italy and wakes up in a hospital having no memory of it, but knowing that she was, quote, involved in a fatal accident in her travels abroad. And so she slowly like remembers things and learns things about what might have happened in the accident and about like what she's been doing for the past 6 weeks. But my problem with this was it was all set in the hospital. Like, I wanted a travel novel where we get to like hang out in Italy and do cool stuff. And while the hospital bit was interesting, it felt very stagnant because everything happens in the same place, as opposed to the sprawling story that I would have gotten if it was set in Italy. And I know that that was a choice, but it wasn't quite what I wanted. That being said, I did fly through this, which brought us to the ending. I think prior to the ending, this would have been a 4-star, but I have to knock it to a 3-star. Just for my morals. I'm gonna give some spoilers for the ending, so just click off until this isn't on the screen anymore, and then we'll be done. But the ending, nothing gets solved. It's all about this mystery of why did Simone die, and is it Jill's fault? Was it an accident? Did she run her off the road? And the book just ends with, who knows, maybe I did it, maybe I didn't, which invalidates the rest of the book. Why did we have her learning things and potentially remembering things just to be like, but who knows? It's a mystery. I have it as a thriller, but I think it's probably more mystery. And if you don't solve the mystery, does it count? And I don't think it does, so I have to give it 3 stars, which I'm sad about because I did really enjoy it. Emotionally, it is more than 3 stars, but I can't in good conscience give it anything more. If I was the person who did half points, 3.5, sure, but 3 stars. So that's it for the physical books. Let's get into the other books. I'm gonna have to do them from memory. In no particular order, for the other books, I read Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellefleur. I just enjoy saying it like that. I'm sure it's wrong. I have a vlog for this one as well because I read like 10 pages and was like, this is going to be a 5-star read. And it was indeed a 5-star read. This is a sapphic romance about an astrologer, matchmaker lady, and an accountant, curmudgeon-y lady. And it's really cute and it's really well done. I just wanted more from it. This book could have been 500 pages and I would have read every second of it. It was just so well written and so fun, and all of the characters were so well done. And the sequel starring Darcy's brother is coming out this month. Yeah, it's in May, which I'm very excited for. I just think Alexandria Bellefleur is a great writer, and I'm really excited to see what else she has in store. But yeah, highly recommend this one. I guess we might as well get all of the videos out of the way. I also have another video called Libby/Overdrives randomly picks what I read, and for that I ended up reading The Higher Power of Lucky by Susan Patron. I've been informed it's Patron, not Patron, and it was really disappointing. This is a Newbery Children's Award winner, and I don't know why. I truly don't know why. It wasn't fun, it wasn't insightful, it wasn't interesting. It just kinda happened, and I'm sad about it, but also it was a fun time, that whole vlog. And the book was very short, so I don't feel like I wasted my time, or it was from the library, so I didn't waste any money. There's truly nothing to talk about for this book because nothing happened. Next, I read No Offense by Meg Cabot. This is a romance between a librarian and a sheriff in a small town, and I enjoyed it so much more than I was expecting to. The problem with it is that it's not a romance, or that the romance was the weakest part, because there's this whole mystery going on where the inciting incident is the librarian finds a baby in the bathroom stall at the library, and they have to figure out where its parents are, and it becomes a whole thing. And that whole bit was really interesting. You got to see the different sides of the characters, like how the sheriff responds versus how the librarian responds, and get to learn about them outside of their relationship, but still a shared experience, which I thought was really good. Unfortunately, their romance just like super didn't work for me. The sheriff is supposed to be played off as like a grumpy dad, but he's just like not a good dude. The tagline for the book is "He's by the book, she's read all the books." It's something like that. But this dude is like not by the book at all. He keeps talking about how like he wants to catch this guy and let him rot in jail, and he like throws things in the office and threatens someone who's in his custody, and like just doesn't care about the consequences. So that was cool. And then the librarian, I didn't mind her, but I didn't feel like she had much substance, and their relationship kind of goes from 0 to 60, where like I don't understand why they like each other. Oh, and now they're naked. But there was a lot that I really enjoyed about this. I really enjoyed Meg Cabot's writing style. I feel like maybe she's been shoehorned into doing romance and she wanted to do something else, and that's just the result of it. I also didn't realize it's the second in a series. The town that they live in is an island called Littlebridge, and there's a book previous to this, which I might check out. I definitely have to read something else Meg Cabot related, because I thought it was really good. I really wasn't expecting to enjoy this one. Well, I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did, because on Goodreads it has a 3.22, which is really low. Like, you really don't see below a 3. Next, I read How to Pronounce Knife by, I'm sorry, I'm not even going to attempt it. It's right here. This is a short story collection revolving around immigrants from Laos and what their lives are like. They're very short. The whole book is very short, and there are quite a few short stories in it. I did it on audiobook, so the shortest ones were like 8 minutes and the longest ones were like 30 minutes, which in the grand scheme of things are really short. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the writing, and I enjoyed the variety of stories, but I don't know if I really got anything emotionally out of it other than being an immigrant sucks, which, like, I don't mean to make light of it. Of course, being an immigrant sucks, and it was demonstrated in a variety of ways, but I didn't connect with any of the characters on an emotional level. I think because the stories were so short, I didn't have time to care about them on a personal level, but I did still really enjoy it. I give that one 4 stars. I would check out what she does in the future. Now the last book, I can't remember. You can tell it's a good book if I read it within a month and have literally no memory of it. I just remembered, and yeah, there's a reason I forgot about it. The last book that I read it like mid-month though, is The Escape Room by Meg Goldin. I was really excited about this one. This one is the book that I've been searching for forever. I remember hearing something about it's a thriller that takes place in an elevator, which just sounds like the scariest thing ever. And I couldn't remember which book it was, so I ended up reading, it's called Elevator Pitch. And Elevator Pitch was not that, but I did end up really enjoying Elevator Pitch. I cannot say the same thing for The Escape Room. It was a confused mess. It was really all over the place. It takes place in 2 timelines and perspectives. One is in the elevator, and one is following this girl who starts working at an investment banking place, and eventually you learn that like her colleagues are the ones who are in the elevator, but it's never really explained how much time is between those two. It could be 2 years, it could be 20 years. Like, they really don't explain it, and so that's really confusing. And the book really takes about half of it to start becoming a thriller. And there are some good thrillery things, but for the most part, I just found it really demoralizing. It was basically just like, capitalism sucks, and being a woman in any industry sucks, and marginalized people, sucks to be them. It was just kind of a bummer. There is a character, I believe she has Asperger's in it, and it was really uncomfortable the way that they talked about her. She's a number savant, she's a human calculator, and it felt really gross the way that they talked about her. Kind of on purpose, because they're all horrible people, but it still didn't make me want to read it. It was just sort of an exercise in misery about how awful can these people get, and it's pretty bad. Reading about horrible people is one thing, but there didn't seem to be a reason why that was happening. Did I learn anything? Not really. Did I have a good time? Also no. I just kind of got sad, which was really unfortunate because this is a book that I've been looking forward to for a really long time. It definitely had some redeeming qualities, but I found it to be mostly a slog, and I ended up giving it 2 stars. And of course I forgot one. I thought I could do math, but apparently I can't. That was only 9 books. The other book that I read was Two Trees Make a Forest by Jessica J. Lee. She is a botanist. She's a nature science gal, and she travels to Taiwan to try to learn about her grandparents and parents' history and the environmental and social impacts of Taiwan. And I thought it was really interesting. It weaves together both general history about Taiwan and countries' militaries fighting over it over the years, and its environmental impact, woven in with her grandparents' history about how her grandfather was a pilot and how her grandparents met and then immigrated to Canada, and also with her personal experience and relationship with her mother and her grandmother. After her grandfather passed away, they found a bunch of his old stuff, and she's kind of going through it. As I'm talking about it, I'm enjoying it more than I think I had reading it. I think that it was hard to focus on all of those things at once. We would get to a point and I'd be like, oh, I want to hear more about that, but we would have to move on to something else. And it was also hard to picture a lot of the things. Like, she's describing a lot of nature and plants and birds. And I did this one on audiobook, so I don't know if maybe the physical version has pictures in it, but I found that that was a big element that was sort of missing for me and would have enriched my experience. But I did end up really enjoying this. I gave it 4 stars, and as I'm talking about it, I'm enjoying it more in retrospect. She is a really interesting person and did a really good job with the story. But that's it. I read 10 books in April, which I'm very happy with. 4 physical books, which, you know, we'll take what we can get. I finally read The Project. I know I've been saying that for months now, and that's actually my first 2021 read, which is kind of wild because in past years I read a ton of stuff from the current year, and I just have been slacking on it, so hopefully I'll get around to more 2021 releases. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!